Hey Prima friends, thank you guys so much for coming and watching my videos and liking and leaving me such amazing and encouraging comments. It has just been so much fun to be making videos for you guys with my new gear and understanding a little bit more of the technological side and just having more time to be creative. It's just really a blessing. So I asked you guys to send me questions on Snapchat, which I love the platform because you guys can send me video questions. So I'm going to go into my app and I am going to see who asked me what. I love being able to interact with you guys and being able to answer your questions. A lot of you guys send me really fun things from your days, and it's really been fun to see who is rehearsing what for Nutcracker, and it just makes me feel really connected to my Prima friends. And it is rush hour outside, so you can probably hear all the traffic that is going on.
Joy, how have you come to own so many tutus over the years? Have you bought them yourself? Were they gifts from teachers? Or does the company let you borrow them?
If you're talking about practice tutus, I've sort of collected practice tutus as I've gone along. So I got a practice tutu when I was in school, and I got a practice tutu when I was in Bolshoi, and I have my teacher's practice tutu, and I have my own practice tutu that I got my last year of exams, and they just sort of keep coming at me. I have 1 or 2 costumes that are my own personal, and then I use my own company's costumes whenever I go and perform with other companies. What do I do when I'm not dancing and working out? I really try to hang out with friends, edit videos, read books, watch news. I do so much. I feel like I'm always running around the city solving one problem or another. I teach a lot, and I like to make food, I like to eat food, I like to try new things. Yeah, I have a new hobby like every other day. Proof develop page past 90 degrees. I've been stuck there for a while. Well, you need to make sure that you are really trying to stay square, and if you're developing to the side, you need to lift up your passe and then just put it up there, because if you lift from here and then try to lift up, you're using your leg muscles and it's really difficult and you're putting a lot of stress on your hip.
How many roles have you played before?
How many roles have I played? Well, I've gotten to dance a lot of different ballets. I danced the lead in Kitri, Don Quixote, Swan Lake, Nutcracker, 1001 Nights, Magic Flute, Corsair. I can't keep count. I have a new debut coming up in Sleeping Beauty, but there are a lot of different roles too that have been made on me, and a lot of different roles I've danced that are like unique choreographers. So that's really fun. I love getting to learn new parts, and so I'm really looking forward to doing Giselle, Juliet, and of course Sleeping Beauty. Really hard to get into Bolshoi ballet when you're not a good ballet dancer. If you're talking about the company, yes. If you're talking about the school, there's an international program and they basically accept anybody who can pay the fee. Am I coming to Greece? I'm not coming to Greece. The tour that was scheduled with Kremlin Ballet got cancelled, so that's really sad because I really wanted to come. Why did you choose the Bolshoi Ballet Academy, not Vaganova? I was chosen by the Bolshoi Academy. They invited me, so it was really kind of a no-brainer because I knew if they invited me, then they wanted me. They could see me fitting in there with the school. Oh, great. It's a small world after all. Thanks, Martha. Martha works at Disneyland, and she's awesome. So shout out to career friend Martha. What is your advice for somebody who has a teacher who gives them no corrections and tries to psych them out in class by playing mind games? Change your school. Go and find another place. It doesn't matter if it's a big school with a big name. I think it's important to find a mentor that can teach you something, and sometimes the best teachers are the ones who are teaching out of their garage but are really passionate about it. Joy, what's something you miss about Texas? I would definitely say the massive amount of food that you get when you go to a restaurant. I miss my family. My family lives in Texas, and people are really sweet and nice there, and they're very straightforward. I don't really think or consider Texas as my home. It's very foreign to me. If I had to pick one thing, it would be definitely my family. I wanted to ask you a question for your Q&A video. What is your favorite ballet and favorite role inside? Well, I've gotten to dance a lot of ballets, so from what I've danced, I really like Nutcracker and I really like Swan Lake, and I'm learning to like Don Quixote more. But from what I haven't danced and only danced parts of, I really like the role of Juliet and Giselle. I have a very high arch and wear gainers, but it's hard to find a shoe that supports and shows off my feet. Are there certain styles or features that you can customize on the gainers that you like or might help me? Thank you, and I'm so excited to see you in Utah in a few weeks. Oh, that's so exciting. I'm coming to Utah on Sunday. So if you live in Salt Lake City, I will be in Utah from the 5th to the 11th. So I'd love to see you at any of my performances or at any of my master classes that I'll be giving, and I want to see you if you live in Utah. I love my gainer mittens. They were specially fit for me. We worked a lot on the fit and adjusting things, like making sure the vamp is the right height. I added I think I have a 3 or 4 shanks in my shoe, and the box is reinforced. So there's a lot of things that you can do to make your gainers work better for you, and if you get them well fit, they will definitely show off your feet in the best way possible. So contact your local fitter. Gainer Mitten is an incredible company. I've had such a great customer experience with them, and they are so kind, so loving, and they really care about the dancers that are wearing their shoes.
I wanted to ask you what you do to improve your turnout.
What I do to improve my turnout, my best advice is to make sure that you have a really good warm-up before your class, and really work on stretching over splits and the frog and doing Pilates and finding your inner thigh muscles, because you can have really bad turnout like me, but if you use your muscles properly, you can hide them. So it's really more about working smart and always thinking about your heel bone going forward, thinking about pushing towards your ribbons, making sure that your calves are always engaged and rotating forward, but definitely make sure you're warm before class. Stretching and flexibility will help, and work smart.
Hi Joy, I love your videos and I think you're a beautiful dancer. I live in the UK and I just wanted to ask you a question. My question is, if you were still living in the US, what ballet company in America would you want to be a part of?
Well, you are so sweet. I am a sucker for an English accent. I really want an English accent, so you're beautiful. I think if I worked in the US, that's a really hard question, because I think if I had never come to Russia, I would still be very much in my balancing trained mentality, and I think that New York City Ballet, what it is an incredible company because they're working and dancing all the time, and I would love to work in a company like that works year round. So I actually think Houston Ballet is an amazing company. Shout out to Harper, you're amazing and you make me smile, and I love your pre-show. You guys should check him out. I want to work with a company that has a good home base, has a good home audience, and really cares about their dancers. So I definitely have to say Houston, or even San Francisco Ballet, or PNB, or Boston Ballet, because they have their own base. ABT is a wonderful company, and I'd love to guest with them one day if I could ever be so lucky. But I think it's really hard for the dancers who dance there, because there's so many guest artists who come in that it's really hard for those dancers to grow up and become principal dancers in their own right. And there are some fantastic, amazing talents in ABT, and some of my best friends work there. But I just don't think that it would be the company that I would feel most at home in. I'd like to lose weight, but I find hard to know about what information about nutrition to trust. Any advice? Well, that's a really hard thing, because every person's body is different. Yeah, I know that I have to stay away from certain food groups, and I have to cross-train. So I think it's the right combination of diet, exercise, and finding balance. If you're stressed out, you're going to put on weight regardless. We see you traveling abroad a lot more this year. What are some of the glaring differences or small quirky differences between Kremlin Ballet and other companies you've seen? Also, Austin Prima friends miss you. Susan. I miss my Austin Prima friends too. But I've been really lucky this year to get to travel around and work with different schools and companies, and that's something that really inspires me, because I can learn so much from watching other artists. And I go to schools, it's really awesome to see all the kids working so hard and really going after their dreams. I think some of the main differences are just in the mentality of the people and how welcoming and open to sort of me and what I might bring to the table other companies seem to be. And it's just really nice to go places as a guest, because they're always open and happy and ready to see you. I think in your own home company, it can just get hard because everybody knows you. I think for me, one of the hard things this year has been I haven't been able to film in my company because people are so upset about it. And I love the fact that when I'm somewhere else, they embrace the fact that I'm creative and that I not only bring my dancing abilities to the table, I'm also there to try and spread the word about what they're doing, creating content and inspiring artists and students there to start creating their own content, because we do live in the 21st century, and I think that it's really important to use the tools that are available to us to talk about what we do and why ballet is a relevant art form today. I stay motivated and inspired when I feel my lowest. I think I get so inspired by the people who love me in my life and the people who sacrifice their time to work with me, and when I see other people who have it even worse than me, putting their boots on every day and just going after it. So sometimes you may feel depressed, but if you keep in perspective that there are other people who are struggling more than you and you're grateful for what you have, it just takes waking up the next day and putting on your favorite music, or talking to your boyfriend, or like spending time on Skype with your parents, or just taking your dog for a walk, or just small things can help you get out of the frame of mind that was making you feel depressed. I've been having trouble with my hip flexibility. I was wondering what you thought the best exercises are to increase it. Also, I need to work on my stamina. What are good ways to help with stamina? Well, I think for hip exercises, again, what I said, warming up, the sauna, making sure that you are being diligent about stretching in the evening and the night. It takes time, so be patient with yourself, and make sure you're stretching the frog and oversplits. Oversplits really, really help with hip flexibility. And I'd say for stamina, the elliptical or running, and being really diligent about that, like every other day, an hour. And I promise you, in about 6 weeks, you're gonna look like a completely different person. I assumed you already immigrated to Russia. Doing it now, what will change for you, or can it stay? Well, I'm in the process of immigrating to another country. I think that a lot of my Prima friends who watch this show also have had issues, because a lot of times, I think for Americans, we take for granted sort of kind of how isolated the US is in that sense. And I don't think that Americans understand how difficult it is actually for somebody who's an immigrant to become a US citizen. It takes years and years and years. And also, that process is pretty much the same for any country that you want to move and work in. It's very difficult if you're somebody who isn't a very rich person or someone who's very influential to up and move somewhere and become part of that society. I have been paying taxes in Russia for 5 years. I was here originally on a student visa, on business visas, then on work visa, but Kremlin can't do work visas for me. I'm the only foreigner working there on what I have right now, which is the step before getting a green card. So what process I'm in right now is applying for a green card so that I can be here and work legally. Russia is my home, and I love the fact that I am, I guess you would say, part Russian already, because I've studied here, I've worked here, and I really do consider this to be, my home base, and I want to be here legally and do it in the right way. I want to pay taxes. I want to be part of society here. I am an ambassador for Capizio, CV, and Grishkos. No, I am an ambassador for Gaynor Minden, so I'm a Gaynor Minden Gaynor Girl Pro, and I'm also a CV lady, so that means that I represent Cloud and Victory and Gaynor Minden. But these are brands that I really feel passionate about. I've been approached by several other dance companies' brands, but because I truly wear Cloud and Victory clothing every single day, and I wear Gaynor Minden every single day, I feel perfectly comfortable recommending those brands to the people who follow me, because I, first of all, know the people that I'm working with. Min is lovely, and she is somebody that is just such a loving, kind person who really cares about being ethical in the way that she does business and doing everything with integrity, and she's really thinking about the customer, and I think those kind of people are the ones that you should be working with. Choose a different career than ballet if I had the chance. I think that I'd love to do something inside of media, but ballet is my way to do all of those things. So I can be an international ambassador, I can be somebody who has a business, and I can be somebody who has a voice because I have this incredible art form that's my platform. It's too late to have a contract with a second company. What age would you recommend having a contract with a second company? Really hard for me to comment on because I never had to go through a second company experience, and I think that's part of the reason why I chose Russia, is because when I was younger, it was just when sort of that was becoming really on trend and really a big part of the way that dancers became professional. And I really sort of saw it as like free, cheap labor and almost a little bit of a slave trade. I felt that, you know, you train until you're 18 and you should get a paying job, and now it's almost impossible in Europe and in the States to do that. So I would actually recommend joining a smaller company and finding your legs, getting some experience, and then trying for a full-time position later. That's personally my own opinion, but if you really love that company, go for it. It's just second company contracts are not a guarantee that you're gonna find a place in that company, and it's cutthroat, and oftentimes they already know who they're going to take, and they're just taking some people just for their bodies to fill up the quarter ballet. So a lot of people are promised some things and then they are disappointed later on after 2 years, and they're already not really of hireable, eligible age to work because they don't have the right experience. It just turns into a catch-22. So go for a smaller company and then see what you can get after 2 or 3 years of learning how to stay in line in the quarter ballet and knowing, you know, the ins and outs of professional life.
Oh, and by the way, would you ever write a book about your life as a ballerina?
Well, that's really, really kind. I think I would like to write a book eventually, one day. I think I would want to write a comedy book a little bit, because I think humor is one of the best tools that I've learned to use to keep myself in perspective and to understand that, you know, life is kind of like a box of chocolates to steal from Forrest Gump. You never know what you're gonna get, and if you have a smile and instead of being stressed out, you can tend to look at like hardships as adventures. I'd like to write a book potentially when I'm a lot older that might be a commentary or a satire on what it's like to be a professional dancer and live in a foreign country. I have an American accent when I speak Russian. Yes, I do have an American accent. I try to take it away. It goes away when I'm here for a long amounts of time, but if you ask any of my Russian friends, they say that I still have some of an accent. You give advice for ballet beginners. Just enjoy yourself, really, and don't get discouraged.
Hey Joy, I wanted to ask whether you're going to keep the American citizenship when you're getting the Russian one, or if you will have dual citizenship or something like that. Love you.
I think the best that I can go for is just having a green card here, which is perfectly fine to me, but I am in no way ever giving up my American citizenship. I'm very proud to be an American, but I'm also very proud to be Russian in a sense. To know what you eat in a day and what you eat when prepping for performance. Well, what I eat in a day and what I eat on performance days are very different. I'm vegetarian and I'm gluten-free, so I try to eat a lot of like soups and a lot of salads, and I really like a good chia pudding in the morning. It's like delicious after workouts. But my first physical activity of the day I always do on an empty stomach. So if it's a gym day, I go to the gym and then I have like a tiny breakfast, coffee always in the morning. But if it's a day where I'm not going to the gym, then I do class on an empty stomach. I find that my stomach feels better the rest of the day if I start my day that way. I always have a lunch with soup and maybe a salad or some tea and things like that. And in the evening I do have quite a large dinner. I can't really not. I love to eat, and I love to eat like different foods. And I'd have to say that Thai food is definitely my favorite. Pirouettes, especially to the bad side. Well, making sure that you're doing the pirouette academically and making sure that you're being clean and clear with your position. So the more turned out your passe is, the deeper your plie from fourth, from a turned out position, not sickled, not rolling in on your feet, is really going to help your pirouette. So pay attention to your form, and pay attention to your form like 100 more times on your bad side. Here's a possible question for a Q&A video. What are your favorite aspects of Russian style ballet? When did you realize that going to Vaganova or training for the Russian style ballet was good? Do you think 14 is too late to start ballet? I don't have very high insteps and I'm not very flexible, but the rest of my physique is good for ballet. Well, 14 is not too late, but you really have to be diligent and make sure you find the right teacher. If you don't have the right teacher, it might be too late for you, but that doesn't mean that you can't enjoy doing ballet recreationally. ballet is a wonderful thing, but to become a professional ballet dancer is almost to take something that's wonderful and take the joy out of it. So dance and enjoy it, and don't put a lot of stress on yourself. But if that's something that you want, you can find a way.
Hey Joy, here's a question for you. How do you manage to be a professional ballerina and still edit videos and vlog?
I don't sleep, and I get in trouble a lot with the people that love me because they're always like, Joy, you're not asleep, you should be resting more. When I get inspired, I can't sleep anyway, so I edit them in the evening time or in my downtime. It was so awesome to be in Canberra and meet Prima friends, and you know, if I hadn't started vlogging like 2 years ago, then I would have never met, you know, all the wonderful people that I have met. So I enjoy this median so much that it's worth sacrificing a little bit of sleep for. But I do have to know my boundaries, and sometimes I can't post videos every day, even though I'm definitely shooting for that. It just doesn't happen all the time. I'll tell you more about my point shoes. They're great. Varna competition open doors and give you more opportunities. Yes, Varna competition helped me become, it kind of validated me as a dancer, and it gave me kind of my credibility and my teacher's credibility and Kremlin Ballet credibility after sort of all the scandals with Bolshoi. And I'm really proud of my partner and of my coach and of my team, and you know, we did everything quite honestly, and it was a really enjoyable experience. And what I got out of it is I stopped being afraid of the stage, and I really got to overcome a lot of some deep-rooted insecurities. So, and not only that, a lot of people got to see me who wouldn't have had the opportunity. And so for me, I got to reconnect with a lot of my Western, like earlier background in a sense. So it was just kind of this thing where I emigrated to Russia and nobody really knew how I danced. And by dancing in Varna, people got to see me and it kind of like traveled through the grapevine. And I think I might have an easier time now going forward. That being said, I definitely don't think Varna is my last big international competition. So I just got a Snapchat that asked me what my favorite leotard is, and I have so many favorite leotards, but I definitely like my long sleeve black leotards because they're really beautiful. But anything long sleeved or flattering and with lace I really enjoy, or with mesh, like interesting designs. It's kind of like cocaine for ballet dancers. I think just getting to call my parents is a really big blessing, that because of the circumstances of my life, there was a time where I didn't get to do that so easily, and so anytime I get to talk with my dad or my mom, I really am grateful for it, and I'm grateful for their sacrifice of their time, and just knowing that even though they're so far away, that they love me and they believe in me. I have a little ritual every time before a performance. I always call my dad the night before, and we just pray, and he's my cheerleader and he's my talisman, and I am such a daddy's girl and always have been, and to know that he's there rooting for me even if it's 1,000 miles away just gives me the strength to sort of go out there and do all the things that we've always talked about. And I think it's really important to honor your father and mother. Preparing for the role of Aurora, which act do you find most difficult to rehearse? The Rose Adagio and Wedding Pas de Deux have crazy technical feats, but the vision scene has such transcendent quality. I have to say that even though most people think that I'm more of a key tree or a fiery dancer, I really enjoy the lyrical portions of the ballet. So I definitely have to say the opening scene is probably the hardest of Sleeping Beauty, because you need a lot of stamina and you have to be very precise and very turned out. So I still really struggle with the cleanliness of the first act. And the variation is so long in the first act, and you have to be so smart with your stamina. Sorry, what is your dream ballet company? Love you, you're the best. My dream ballet company is any company that wants me, can give me the repertoire that I want to dance, and give me the freedom to travel around the world. So I think we get too caught up on big names. You have to think about, does the director care about you? Does the director see you in what they want? And you are in charge of your happiness. So find a place where you can be creating and dancing and where you're needed. My question is, what is your favorite hobby you have in free time? I love you. Definitely getting to create with my friends. So photo shoots, video shoots, making vlogs.
Hi, I love you so much and I love your videos, and I was wondering if you had any tips for aspiring ballerinas. Thank you.
Oh, you're so sweet. I think it's so hard to not give up, but just keep going and don't get disappointed and don't get discouraged, and remember to love what you do and encourage other people. If you weren't a Prima in Russia, what would you be doing right now? I would probably be going to university and trying to do a million things just because I know my nature, and I'd probably be doing something artistic and in business. I'd be following in my grandma's steps, trying to become an international lawyer. Schedule time. The 5th through the 11th, I will be in Salt Lake in Utah, USA. Then the 14th through the 18th, I will be in Brussels, Belgium. And potentially I might be going back to Melbourne. If I'm not going back to Melbourne, I will be back in the States in Austin, Texas for New Year's and Christmas. So those dates are subject to change, but that's my tentative schedule. And I will also be at the Vibe competition in Montana in January. So if you want to see me, those are kind of tentatively the places that I will be in December and January. So look for me there, and make sure you follow my Instagram and my Snapchat and my Facebook for regular updates, because you will know where I am. I will be posting a lot, don't worry. I will spam your newsfeed. How does the dance community in Russia react to men being on point as to strengthening and getting more articulation in feet and ankles? Performing in a non-comical way, is it becoming popular like in the US if it's already common? I often use pointers here in school for guys if they have not the best arches. And that's seen as okay, but it's kind of behind closed door. But definitely dancing on point in a non-comical way, in a non-serious way, is definitely seen as something that is borderline homosexual, and it's actually not really accepted only in like the contemporary communities and the hipster outlying communities. But if you were to see a man who is taking himself seriously and on point, I think you would definitely come to some cultural misunderstandings, if you catch my gist. Okay, so I think that's the last question. Thank you guys so much for sending your questions and in video form. I love answering them. I love getting to know you guys more. So write me something down in the comments so that I can know more about you. And I can't wait to take you guys on the adventures that are coming up. But I have to say, I'm so grateful for all the love recently. And I will see you guys tomorrow for another video. Love you. Bye.